The last time Trinidad and Tobago won a medal in cycling at the Commonwealth Games, Barbara Streisand had the top song on the Billboard Hot 100. The Way We Were is the title of that song, bearing the same name as the movie, which was made eponymously. That was the year 1974. Well, Nicholas Paul has broken a very, very long drought, and not only did he win a medal, he landed gold, the first man since Roger Gibbon from Trinidad and Tobago to win a gold medal in cycling for a country from the English-speaking Caribbean, or any part of the Caribbean for that matter. TNT on the board with their first medal of these Commonwealth Games. There they are in 9th place. Gold it is for the Rocket Man from Gasparilla down south in sweet, sweet TNT. That's the greeting. Commonwealth Tonight is the show. My name is George Davis, and I'll be working alongside 3 honorable gentlemen, 2 on the set to start with, and we have an outstanding sprinter in reserve. So I'm starting with Anil Roberts. Almost said Anil Kumble for a moment there. And Leighton Levy is also back for more after a very good first day taking Commonwealth Tonight to your mobile devices and, of course, to your television sets. Do people still say television sets? It sounds rather antiquated. What isn't antiquated, gentlemen, is the fact of winning medals. It can't get old, the feeling of bringing glory to yourself and to your nation. And you would understand, Leighton, why I'm going to start with the TNT man first of all, because today was a very beautiful day in the history of your beloved country, Anil Roberts. Nicholas Paul, gold, solid gold.
Let me just start off. Zoom in there. Let me just start off with this. A smile coming from my heart. Nicholas Paul, red, white, and black. Trinidad and Tobago national anthem. Just pure brilliance. Let me tell you, 2 days to go for emancipation. He emancipated us from mediocrity. He showed what we're supposed to be. He dominated. He beat a world-class field as if they were little children in a primary school on a BMX bike. He was a Lamborghini versus Wetman Tida. That man, Nicholas Paul, went through the rounds in a fashion and an amazing talent and brilliance that shows the brilliance of Trinidad and Tobago, the red, white, and black. I am proud. Well done, Nicholas Paul. We have more to analyze, but just pure, sheer brilliance. The word is domination, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Elton John isn't the only rocket man to be talking about. Let's look at the race. How Nicholas Paul won gold for himself and the TNT.
Jeff Carlin just trying to make some space in front of him, running up onto the wheel. Here comes the big man from Trinidad and Tobago, Nicholas Paul.
Big move from Nicholas Paul. Can he ride them all away here? He takes the bell with a good few bike lengths advantage. Can he see it home? It's down to Jack Carlin of Scotland to try and chase the man from Trinidad and Tobago. They're coming, but they're not coming anything like fast enough. A brilliant ride from Nicholas Paul, the Commonwealth gold medalist here in London. Sensational. He destroyed the field, Nicholas Paul. The flag raised aloft here in London. That was brilliant. And in the development of his career, a milestone moment.
A Malaysian in 3rd place.
In the end, he didn't have to use his teammate there to any effect. He just hit the front here and then rode them all off his wheel. Phenomenal initial acceleration and then an immense amount of staying power to see that gap all the way over the line. And they were beaten a long, long way out by Nicholas Paul there. That was the rush, the bunch gallop for 2nd place, but it was always going to be 2nd place after he got the gap. No looking back. Still so young, Nicholas Paul, just 23 years of age. So much more potential. And each time that he ticks off an achievement like this, his stature in the world of keirin sprinting full stop grows. And this is the biggest win of his career so far. Nicholas Paul, the gold medalist.
Those who are able to, please stand for the anthem of Trinidad and
Tobago will now play.
Special moment for the man Nicholas Paul, as I said, from Gasparilla in the south of Trinidad and Tobago. He went to Naparima College. He discovered cycling by accident. He was a footballer up to age 15, got injured and said he did some cycling to get himself back fit. Says he was riding at the velodrome. A coach spotted him and said, young man, you want to try cycling? And the rest is history. His craft has been honed at the World Cycling Center in Switzerland. Kwesi Brown is also another man who trains at the center. And he said, were it not for those facilities and that kind of conditioning, he wouldn't be the sprinter, the world-class sprinter that he is. And of course, he wouldn't be Commonwealth champion. Leighton Levy, Nicholas Paul's story is tremendous. If we were to use a one-word descriptor to attach to his performance, we could, there are some adjectives, a range that you could use, and I'm sure you would accept pulverizing to describe what he did to the competition today.
Absolutely, George. And this is we've heard the phrase winning is a habit. And this is what Nicholas Paul does. He wins with regularity. People forget that it was just earlier this year in July where he won, I think, 3 gold medals at the UCI Championships, which means he's one of the best in the world, if not the best in his specific class. And of course, he demonstrated that today in no mean order. He completely decimated the field. And, winning by that kind of margin, you're talking about competing against lesser class athletes. You're talking about world-class athletes. And he completely decimated that field. Outstanding performance.
Yeah, Anil, when the Derny went off, the man from New Zealand, Saunders, attacked first. Paul didn't flinch because he knew that was just waste, erratic gunfire. He had the cannon to send these boys into oblivion.
Well, that's what I like when coaches improve and they understand. We were here doing the Tokyo Olympics and we saw Nicholas Paul. He was the fastest man at the Olympics, but he came out without a medal because we saw tactical errors. As you said, he was a footballer. He's a young cyclist. You've got to get out there and it's tactics, how to move, when to move. And to see him 1 year on, just sit down so comfortably, knowing that he's the fastest, not panicking. Anybody could go. You could rush, you could go. He was going to race his race. He was going to dominate. And the way that this 5'7", 165-pound man rode, when they came at him, he just accelerated on that big gear, just 4 or 5 cycles, and let them know that nothing you can do, you cannot close the gap. You cannot come around. I will not be boxed in. I have gained the experience and the knowledge, and I am now riding with speed, intelligence, brilliance, and the confidence that I am the baddest man on the planet. He has more gold to win. I sit here proud, my brother.
Absolutely so. But before I come to Leighton, let's look back at what Anil Roberts said in analyzing Nicholas Paul's chances at the Tokyo Olympics, because that was a portent of what came earlier today.
Paul in that match sprint blew out Dimitriev, and I thought the rules were applied unfairly, and it was terrible, but the noise wasn't made. So he has one last chance in something called the Karen. People who don't know cycling, it's okay. It's just a pure sprint. So you're going to get 6 cyclists to go behind a motorbike. Motorbike is going to go, they're going 6 laps. But the race is really only the last lap. The track is 250 meters. So the first 4 laps or so is just the motorcycle carrying them up, getting their heart rates up, building speed, and they're going. The cycle will then move, and then it's all hell break loose. Man had to pedal, man had to fight for spot. It's extremely dangerous. They're getting up the top speeds of 73 to 74 kilometers per hour, coming up a high bank. But Nicholas Paul is the man. Trinidad and Tobago is the man. And if he stays clear, we will have a medal and we will eat double, celebrate, and I might try to get a Trinidad and Tobago bow tie to match you, George.
I was wearing a Jamaica bow tie that day. Yeah, but Anil, from that, you left that segment of the Olympics coverage with a bee in your bonnet because you were put out by the representation for on Nicholas Paul's behalf with a disqualification, because you said, file the appeal this way, do it early, but their appeal got knocked off, and based on the time it took for them to actually lodge the appeal, you predicted that it would have come to naught.
Correct. That was based on the match sprint, and already we were seeing the inexperience, because in the match sprint, the strategy Nicholas Paul should have utilized last year was Dmitriev can't smell me. I'm going to mash gas with 250, take him for a ride, break his spirit, beat him in 2 straight, move on to the medal rounds. But he didn't. He tried a different strategy, got locked in behind. When he made that move, he dipped back down just for a split second into the blue area, but he didn't impede anyone and came back out. I thought the rule was applied harshly. When you hear me say there, that was before the Karen. What happened later that evening? He got behind, as we said, it was dangerous. He got behind 3 riders and got boxed in. And when he accelerated, he was so fast and the guy in front was so slow, his front tire touched and he got frightened. He wobbled, went high, came down, and he was out of the medals. Now you see round 1. Take control. No one with him. You can't even spray mosquito on his back tire. Semi-final, same thing. And the final, pure domination, no risk, a positive ride, Leighton.
Absolutely. They don't.
Sorry, Leighton, let me point this out to you and get your comment, because I made a point of writing down what the Caribbean has done in cycling at the Commonwealth Games. And you know, sometimes you split between the English-speaking Caribbean and the rest of the Caribbean because the Spanish-speaking, French-speaking do great things at major championships. Well, this is one where the English-speaking Caribbean, for obvious reasons, the Commonwealth, they're lonely. The medal winning at the Commonwealth Games for the English-speaking Caribbean started by the man Roger Gibbon, 1966, those games that we spoke about yesterday. He won gold in the time trial, and then he won silver in the sprint at the 1966 Commonwealth Games. And then Leslie King, 1970, time trial silver. King again, same 1970, sprint bronze. So a silver and bronze for King at the 1970 Games. Then it moved on to Ian Atherley, the last man to win a medal for Trinidad and Tobago at the Commonwealth Games. That was a silver in the sprint in 1974. Then Vernon Stauble, an event that has not been contested, that is not contested at these Commonwealth Games, a scratch, which is the most basic form of track cycling. Put them on the track and they race, yeah? The fastest man wins. So he won a bronze in the scratch, Vernon Stauble did in 1970. Then Jamaica, of course, Miranda, 1974, and then David Weller, 1978, both in the sprint. Xavier Miranda won a silver. David Weller won a bronze in 1978. And then Barbados, most recently, Kuala Lumpur, 1998, the man Barry Ford won a bronze in the sprint. So it's been a while. It's been a long time between innings, Leighton, for the Caribbean in cycling at the Commonwealth Games. Even longer for Trinidad and Tobago. And Nicholas Paul, now the 8th man from the Caribbean to win a medal at the Commonwealth Games in cycling, and the 2nd man to win gold.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising because Trinidad have a very strong cycling program. I think they're definitely the best in the Caribbean. So I think it's a bit surprising that it's taken that long to get back on the podium. Better late than never. I mean, based on what we've seen now, and of course, what the legacy that Paul is beginning to build, clearly now, this is an opportunity for Trinidad to continue to build on this legacy, to win more medals more frequently. And of course, the talent is there, obviously. And Paul will lead that pack because he's still, 22, 23.
September 24.
Yeah, so you're looking at a situation where he's young enough to continue to push through. Because you remember, David Weller in 1978, then he went on to the Olympics and won a bronze medal there as well in 1980. So that's the kind of the kind of lead you want in a country like Trinidad that has a strong cycling tradition to now continue to build on it, because this is now, we're talking about glass ceilings from yesterday. He's pushing through to a new level of performance.
Leighton, you make a point there that is valid. You cannot sprint your fastest as a pure out-and-out sprinter until you are 26 or 27. Yeah. So he's not even close to his best.
Yeah, Paul says he wants to go until at least the 2028 Olympics. He says any good athlete wants at least 3 Olympic Games under their belts, and he's looking at 2024 and 2028. Naparima College, take a bow, because he is a past student of Naparima College, Nicholas Paul, and his cycling club in Trinidad and Tobago that he started with. The man who went to the Junior Pan Ams at 16 years old. It's been a meteoric rise for Nicholas Paul. Imagine starting cycling at about 15 years old and being this good, Commonwealth champion at 23 with so much in the tank. It's a tremendous achievement for this TNT star.
She's actually matured. I can see it. It's so exciting to see her maturity.
Commonwealth Tonight is on, and I'm in the company of Leighton Levy and Anil Roberts talking about the performance of Caribbean athletes on day 2 of competition at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England. And we spent a lot of time, as we ought to have, talking about the gold medal performance of Nicholas Paul, the man from TNT from the south. Gasparilla is where he is from. What about the Sunshine Girls? We're talking about netball now, because the Jamaicans were in action today in their second game in Pool A, and they met South Africa. And in the end, it was another accomplished performance from the Jamaicans. From my perspective, and I'll hear my analysts on this, I thought that in part this was a better performance than the opening round victory over Wales. I'm sure Connie Francis would have seen things that she would have wanted to see improvement on. And when you look at the quarter-by-quarter scores, South Africa actually won the fourth quarter 18-14, outscoring the Jamaicans in the last quarter. That in itself may be cause for concern. But overall, the Sunshine Girls, they played with a tempo, especially in that first half. The tempo was good. Still, a few hot patty moments where the ball was like a hot stone that they wanted to get rid of quickly. So a couple sloppy passes. But the tempo in the first half was really good. And if you're going to match the medal favorites, Jamaicans, one of them, of course, the other 3 being England, Australia, and New Zealand. So 4 medal favorites for only 3 medals. You get the picture. You're going to have to be intense right the way through. Leighton, I come to you first. Assess for me what the Sunshine Girls did in that second game against South Africa.
I thought it was a better performance, as you said, George. One of the things that I did not like, in my mind, when you're playing sports, team sports or individual sports, when you have an opponent down, you put your foot on their neck and you crush them. There is no way do you justify South Africa winning that fourth quarter after Jamaica dominated the first 3 quarters. You don't allow anybody back into the game. You don't give them a sniff at anything, regardless of the lead. You crush them. Because why? You send a message to them and you send a message to your opponents that you're serious about this thing. You cannot have, look, a 19-point win is a 19-point win. There's no argument about that. It's a dominating victory. But it could have been more emphatic had they done a better job in that fourth quarter. They took their foot off the gas and then allowed South Africa to feel like, here we go, we might have a chance to even make the score respectable. You don't do that in competitions like this. New Zealand and Australia would never do that. No. They crush you. They break your spirit. And we need to start to be able to do that with our Sunshine Girls, because they have the talent. They're among the best players in the world. And they should play like it. Crush your opponents, break their spirit, and send a message to the rest of the field that we are here to compete for medals and we are here to win. And that's the only thing I didn't like about the performance. I mean, yes, there is still some unnecessary turnovers. There's still some uncertainty in the play. I think as time passes, however, I think they'll get a little bit more fluid. But I don't like the idea that South Africa was able to win the fourth quarter. It's as a team sport, you break spirits, you kill people, and that's what I don't like about it.
Anil, the first quarter, 18-7 to Jamaicans, so there was an 11-goal difference. And even by halftime, it felt, as Leighton said, as if the Sunshine Girls had the South Africans by the lapels, if not by the neck, ready to deliver the fatal blow. But then diminishing returns after halftime, and then you ended up a situation where the Sunshine Girls were outscored by 4 goals in that fourth quarter. So not a totally good performance, you'd say.
Let me totally disagree with my 2 colleagues. Fourth quarter, this is not a quarter game. It's a cumulative score. They were blown out. The message was sent early on. As a coach, I have to know what I have and where I'm going. I'm going for the gold medal. I don't want to expend extra energy to send any message, no matter how pyrrhic it is, because I'm playing against New Zealand and Australia, England also later on, who are fitter, who have been prepared longer, who have more tests under their belt. I want to send a message and conserve. So, first quarter, second quarter, I was happy. I saw fluid movement, quick movement, great chemistry, domination of a team that's highly ranked in the world. And then I took my foot off the accelerator because no medal are given out in the first round or the second round.
Except my friend. I'm interjecting here. And I know Leighton is waiting to come in as well. Here's the thing. The Sunshine Girls in major tournaments, their undoing has often been a third quarter lack of intensity. So that third quarter lack of intensity was a fourth quarter lack of intensity today. It has been well documented to the extent that Rob Wright, the Australian centre coach, was brought in. First, he was doing consultancy by Zoom. Money was found to pay for him to come for Jamaica to help correct that, because whereas the teams that we mentioned, the other demon teams in World Netball, Australia, England, and New Zealand, they are deadly four quarters. It's almost as if the Sunshine Girls need a quarter off.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Because they aren't able to maintain the intensity.
Good argument.
Hold on. One last one. That is why, Senior Roberts, we are concerned about the fourth quarter blip.
Yeah, and also, let's add to what George said. When you push the level of intensity right through the game, it becomes almost instinctive to do that. When you take your foot off the gas, there's going to come a point psychologically for me, I mean, I've seen it before, where you're in games that you need to be able to press home the advantage in the final quarter. But mentally, you're used to taking your foot off the gas against weaker opponents. So when your opponents then jump at you, you don't know how to respond because it's not instinctive anymore. You actually become more laid back in terms of how you approach a final quarter or final two quarters, because you're thinking, okay, what you practice is what happens in circumstances.
Let me deal with both of you.
Please do.
I am taking it from you that is the science that we need. I need to mash in a semi-final, third and fourth quarter. I need him to mash gas in the third and fourth quarter of the final. In a tournament spanning 13 days, playing 8 games, I don't need, if I am short aerobically, to mash unnecessary gas. When I was in the Olympics 2004 with George Bovell, he was injured. We were short on fitness.
Yeah.
He wanted to mash gas like you wanted in the semi-final.
Yeah.
He wanted to show and make a statement.
Yeah.
And I told him 13 times, cool it. No medal I give out now.
Yeah.
He cooled it, he listened, and he got his medal by 1/1000.
I say this to you.
The only weakness.
Yes.
You want a gold medal for Jamaica? The Caribbean wants a gold medal?
Yes.
All of us now must get on SportsMax, on the apps, and send comments to that team that they can win, that they are the best team. Because the only thing stopping them is the belief mentally as a unit that they can win.
But I say this to you as I go to the break. I have to go to the break. The director is sending me there. Again, this thing about lack of intensity in the second half, it has been the Achilles heel of the Sunshine Girls. And as I go to the break, I'll tell you this. Australia beat Scotland today 83-30. You want to know the scores of the Aussies? First quarter 17, second quarter 18, third quarter 23, fourth quarter 25. That's it.
Increasing intensity.
Back with more after these.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're proud to be here to bring these Commonwealth Games to you on SportsMax and all our platforms. And speaking of proud, that's the man tipped by Anil Roberts on the first evening of Commonwealth Tonight to win the gold in the men's 50 meters butterfly. And guess what? The proud man came up trumps. TNT's Dylan Carter finished fourth in the event. Let's have a replay.
All about the start. Ben Brown invariably gets a good start, but in fact the best start coming from Cheong in lane number 5. Visa's not bad the away either, but this is where Ben Brown should be able to put on the burners. He is, and he's been tracked all the way by Cheong to the right-hand side of Miss Dylan Carter, but Ben Proud has the advantage. It's not a big one at this stage. Cheong coming back to it. Carter coming back to it. Will be English goal, I'm sure. It is! It is English goal and a new games record too for Ben Proud of 22.81, and the crowd goes wild.
Dylan, 23-28, you swum faster than you have for the entire Commonwealth Games, but finishing in fourth position. First of all, how disappointed are you with this result?
Yeah, it's terrible, devastated, you know. 22-8 last month. Like I said yesterday, it was a tough turnaround between there and here. I hadn't gone home. I haven't been home in about 3 months. It's 1/100th of a second, you know. But that stings, man. That's really tough. Really tough. I had a terrible finish. I gotta go watch it, but yeah.
you were great at the World Championships, no doubt about that, and the expectations would have been great coming into this as well. Where do you think it would have gone wrong between Worlds and now?
Yeah, I think it's just tough. Like I had like I said, I hadn't been home, and I tried to lift some weights and train a bit, after Worlds. I think maybe I just buried myself a little bit. I don't feel as strong. Maybe I'm a little bit tired from that work. I should have just maybe kept resting, but it's all in the preparation, So it's a learning experience. We go back to the drawing board, but it's a tough one to swallow tonight, yeah.
How do you pull yourself together now for the remainder of the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, we gotta put it behind us. We got the 53 left, 50 back tomorrow morning. I'll probably feel out the heats and then scratch it. Focus on the 53. But it's the name of the game, I'm disappointed at sports. And, we're going to have to bounce back, and hopefully we can win a medal in the freestyle.
One more, your countryman Nicholas Paul, I don't know if you know this yet, but he won the gold medal in the keirin all the way in London. A word on his performance.
I mean, congrats, Nick. That's a massive performance. First gold, first medal for TNT at the Commonwealth Games. So really, really proud of you. Nick is a friend of mine, and he's a really great guy, and he works very hard, so he deserves it. So I'm really happy I couldn't get on the podium tonight, but at least Nick got the job done for us.
A portrait of a man who's disappointed with his performance in a big event. That's Dylan Carter. That's what he painted there. Interviewed, of course, by Ricardo Chambers. I turn it over to you, Anil.
Well, this is a problem. Great interview, great information. His stroke count was 21 1/4. We needed possibly to try and get it down to 20 strokes, we said last night. We needed his start to be sharper and to take 2 extra butterfly kicks at the beginning so that he would not need that extra stroke. Unfortunately, he took a kick less, and then he was stretching for the wall, losing a bronze medal by 0.01 of a second, which is like the growth of a fingernail in 3 weeks. But his touch, as he knew, such an intelligent, brilliant athlete, his touch was horrendous. He was long on the touch and had to kick, and the New Zealand guy came and hit flush and came from behind to steal the medal. Now, you heard him say he's unsure of what he should have done. He had World Championships from June 17th to June 25th where he was perfect. When you're a coach and you're planning a competition schedule, you start from the back and come backwards. You start from the race day and work backwards to plan, to create your macrocycles, your microcycles, to work your base, your power, your speed, your competitive areas. What then has to happen? If you're going at the World Championship, you want to be in that immaculate form. You want to rest perfectly, where you give up a bit of your aerobic capacity to ensure that you have the speed and power, as Dylan described it yesterday, the pop that he had in the World Championships. Now, after the World Championships, your coach then has to be especially brilliant and understand you as an individual. Normal athletes would need 2 or 3 days to vent, to lime, to relax, because they're so disciplined and they sacrifice so much, they need to unwind. Then you must hit the gym immediately to maintain your strength and power. Not to overdo, but just do enough repetitions at a maximum weight to maintain your strength and power. He's now questioning whether he should have done that or whether he should have just rested. No, if he had just rested, he may not have even made the final, because he would have lost in a sprint his anaerobic capacity to perform. So what we are hearing is a brilliant, intelligent athlete who's disappointed, and I love that he's disappointed. We ain't come here to play. We came here to get a medal. So don't pretend like some athletes, oh, I'm just happy to be here. That is an athlete that I love. He's upset. We as coaches now have to get him ready, because he's a world-class talent who deserves to be on the podium. He gave it his all, and I'm proud of him.
0.01 off a medal, Leighton. Gotta hurt.
It's the worst kind. It's not like you lost by 2/10. It's this. It's less than a breath. So Dylan Carter is such a really cool guy. I mean, I've interviewed him a number of occasions now, and he works hard. And as I likened him to, he's the male version of Jamaica's Aaliyah Atkinson. He's that kind of athlete where He's very affable, easy to talk to, and he's a talent. So it's very disappointing to see him not just missing out on a medal there. And what can you do but go back to the drawing board, as he says? You just have to pick yourself up and get going again.
Yeah, well, here's one proud boy that we can abide. Looking at you, USA. This London-born lad, Benjamin Proud, the gold medalist. He spoke to Ricardo Chambers after the game.
What a performance tonight. You must be tremendously proud of what you achieved out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is more than just a gold medal. It's 8 years of my life dedicated to the sport. And I walked into this 8 years ago, managed to walk away with the gold, and 4 years ago I felt like it was taken away from me, being disqualified. So to come back 4 years on, stand here today and win the gold medal in front of a home crowd is really something special.
2014, you won the gold medal, and I'm sure that was super special for you. 10 years on, how do you compare both achievements?
Yeah, they're very different. I mean, when I was 19, I didn't know what was going on, so I came in, did my best, and walked away with it. Whereas this time, I really felt like I've put in the work. I've worked for 8 years to stay on the top. So to me, this is something really special to be able to say that I've been here. Like, it's my legacy in a way. This is my career. This is what I've dedicated myself to. And I know that now. So to be able to achieve it in this way is something very nice.
We're from the Caribbean, so of course we were big on cheering on Dylan Carter, hoping that he would have gotten into the medals. Disappointing that he finished outside of it. But after seeing you in the semi-finals yesterday, it looked quite clear, at least to our analysts, that you were the man to beat. At what stage did you start feeling that, yes, I'm in the shape to get this done and win this gold medal?
I mean, I felt like this was my medal from 4 years ago, so I felt like it was mine to lose for a long time. Dylan's an amazing swimmer, and I was really happy to see him do so well at World Champs. I'd love to go see him now and see what happened in the race, because he's a phenomenal swimmer, and I hope that he can step on and move on for the 50 freestyle later on this week. But yeah, I mean, at World Champs I was swimming well, so I had to utilise that to the best I can, and I'm just happy it paid off, because there are a bunch of guys in that race who could have taken this away from me. So I had to protect what I thought was mine, and I'm really happy and really grateful to be standing here with this medal.
27 years old, Anil Roberts, motivated by past disappointment, and he made no mistake.
But you hear what he said? That medal is mine. This medal is mine from 4 years ago. That's what we come in to compete against. Don't come to the Commonwealth Games and then try to figure out, why am I here? What am I eating? Who can I compete against? Oh, they beat me and blow me out. No, you have to prepare from early. Benjamin Proud, I remember racing against him with George Bovell, and we beat him in 2013 in the World Championships in Barcelona. George was in lane 1 and got the bronze in 21:51 in the 50-meter freestyle. He has been at the top of his game. He's gone through some injuries and some hard times, but he's ripped, he's focused, and he knew he was coming to win. From the semi-final, you could hear him. You could see the power, the speed, the count. He took 19 strokes. He looked great. That gold medal was his. Dylan was a little bit unfortunate, but I told you, a racehorse guy always gets up, no matter how bad things were. Dylan knew he wasn't in the right frame, in the physiological shape, but he got up there, heart and soul, and he nearly jumped on that podium. A great effort, George.
Yeah, all right, let's look at this 15-year-old competing for Jamaica in one of these semifinals on the women's side. Let's go.
Away we go for this one. Very slow start by Chelius, but everybody else away pretty quickly on that one. Who's into their stroke first? Well, looking pretty good is Isabel Henley early on for England, but then Shayna Jack taking over in lane number 4. The two Australians really racing themselves in the centre. Emma Chelius, after not a great start, is trying to come back into the field, but it's the two Australians. Who's going to get it? Meg Harris, I think. Oh no, Jack just going before her to the wall by 8/100ths of a second. 24-3 for our winner, 24-4-1. The two Australians very comfortably through, 8/100ths apart, and third place going to Emma Chelius after not a great start for South Africa.
Mackenzie Headley, 25.97, just 2/100th of a second outside of what you swam in qualifying this morning. But you're just 15 years old. Talk to me about this Commonwealth Games experience.
It's been really exciting. Just like when I was lining up, I was just like almost in shock that I'm racing the best people in the world. So it's just really exciting and awesome experience.
At 15 years old, I'm sure you would have had some expectations of what the Commonwealth Games would be like. Based on what has happened so far, how do those expectations match up with the reality that you have encountered here in Birmingham?
Honestly, I didn't really have a lot of expectations, but coming here, it's just a lot of people in a lot of different countries, so it's really exciting to see different cultures. So.
You have a personal best in this 50 freestyle of 25.62. You're 15 years old. I have to keep repeating that, but only Alia Atkinson has swum faster than you have as a Jamaican in this event. How long is it going to take for you to remove her record?
Hopefully very soon, though. It's not that far away, so hopefully with a bunch of training, when I get back home, I should be able to do it.
15 years old Mackenzie Headley finishing 8th in her semi-final, Anil. But I know progression, apart from when you're talking about inanimate objects, and progression is linear all the time. When you're talking about human beings, progression isn't linear. But it's always exciting as a coach to have someone who's prodigiously talented to seek to mold, rather than have someone who ensuring you nothing, as you would say, and try to mold it into something special.
Correct. However, being a coach who could see, while it's fantastic at 15 years old to be that fast, you have to look at the vehicle that you're traveling in. That will determine your future speed. You want to get down to 24.2, 24.3. Her current technique, if it's not changed immediately, will not allow her to go faster than 25.2. So we could be here sitting down 10 years later wondering what took place. It is incumbent upon her coaches now to understand that her kicks are not in the right position. They are separating and sometimes doing a 4-beat crossover kick. They need to be lowered to drive her body up. She's already very muscular, and therefore if you don't get that body on top of the water, it's going to drag and the water is going to slow her down. She's also sculling very wide and not rotating her hips enough. You have to take the time when you look at the Australian, look at the rotation, as that shot is so amazing. As you look at our two, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, you see that we are flat, that we are dragging ourselves. There is more resistance affecting our bodies than the girls in the middle of the pool. If the coaches don't correct that now, no amount of hard work, no amount of training, no amount of anything will get you where you want to go. The vehicle is technique. The coaches have the brain. So not just hard work. You can go in the gym, you can get strong. Strength also increases resistance because you put on more muscle mass, you've got to carry it. She's got to improve her kicks. She's got to finish her strokes some more, rotate, bring her chin up a little bit more, and then work on it from now for 4 years, and we can see something sub 25. Other than that, we'll be coming semi-finals and no excitement for the next 12 years.
Yeah, and Leighton, while the agony uncle takes a break. TNT Sherelle Thompson, we must not forget her. The fact is, look, Anil has to be how he is because he's the analytical mind. He's the coach who's walked the walk and he talks the talk and he talks the talk quite a lot. Yeah, but he's walked the walk. He knows what to do. So he'll look at it differently. But to the swimming mom or swimming dad, swimming father, sitting at home watching Sherelle Thompson, watching Mackenzie Headley, watching youngsters in a semi-final for their respective countries at the Commonwealth Games, it must be a source of pride. And if the good advice that is imparted by our legendary friend here is taken on board, then Miss Thompson, Miss Headley, people like them can be better for the future.
Absolutely. I mean, now it comes down to the pride, but also the encouragement that comes afterwards, because getting to a semi-final in a major event like this is an accomplishment. We have a tendency to believe that, you know, you get to the final and the only people that count are the people who are on the podium.
Yes.
But when you're competing against the very best in the world, if you're among the top 16, it means that you're among the top 16 in the world, or at least in the very least in the Commonwealth, which is in itself an accomplishment. But it's now about making the step to get further ahead, to make it into the final and then eventually make it onto the podium. So obviously they will be proud. But that pride has to be measured by, you know, the right measures, the right approach to ensure that they improve.
And in 15 seconds, Anil, the technique adjustments that you've prescribed for Miss Headley, what would you say? The same thing for Miss Thompson?
Definitely. And I coached Miss Thompson when she was about 8 years old, teaching her to swim way back in the day. But same thing, similarly. Remember Leah Martindale went without all these fancy suits, without this fancy pool in 1996, went 25.49. These girls have the potential to go 24. You have to analyze it. Yes, well done, but we want to go faster.
For sure. Absolutely so. We take the break. When we come back, Obadele Thompson joins the broadcast. Back with us, Commonwealth Tonight continues. We have made one change to the set. Anil Roberts is taking a breather. Leighton Levy remains, and we're joined by the man from Barbados, Obadele Thompson. Oba, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Excellent. Dame Fura Duffy did it first on the first day of competition, and then, of course, Nicholas Paul did it from TNT. So the Caribbean on the board. What do you make of the game so far?
It's been a good game so far. Dame Flora Duffy winning that goal was tremendous to set it off. It's really set the tone for the Caribbean. She's been having an exceptional run the last couple of years, 3 world championships, and of course the first woman to win a world championships and Olympics in the same year. And so to set the bar that high, it's something that all the other athletes from the Caribbean should be looking up to. And of course, today with Nicholas Paul, as we were discussing earlier, winning that goal in dominant fashion. It's been a good game so far.
All right, here we go. Well, the Grenadian. Well, we have a special feature featuring 2 Grenadian athletes, 2 stars for Grenada, who are brothers of. Well, they're not blood related, yeah, but the bond between them is so strong. We even asked them to interview themselves. Check this out.
Hi, welcome to SportsMax, and this is Lyndon Victor, and I am here with Grenadian decathlete Kurt Felix, big brother, son of Finn. Kurt, how does it feel to be at, what is this, your 4th Commonwealth Games? Dang, 4th for real? How does it feel to be at your 4th Commonwealth Games?
It feels good, kind of feels like home now. It's always good to come out here and represent Grenada, and have fun, meet new friends, and make new friends along the way.
So, Kurt, we have missed you from international competition for a while. What can the Grenadian public expect from you at this competition?
Well, I'm going to come out here and do my best. Like you said, I've been missing for a while. It's been really hard trying to watch from home and not being there. As a competitor, you always want to be out there on the field, competing, so coming back and being on the field again, it's really good.
How is the body feeling from the mishaps that you have in the last couple of years?
I feel really good. Not being able to compete the past few years, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself, but to go out there and have fun. And I think that's when I compete at my best. So there's not too much pressure on me, but there's also pressure to come out here because you always want to win a medal.
Yes.
But the medal will come with the performances. So, Mr. Victor, how does it feel to be here competing at another Commonwealth Games?
Well, I must say that I actually miss competing with you, my older brother. It's always fun when I get to compete with you. So another Commonwealth Games. I'm trying my best to defend my title, but I know there are really good guys competing, so I have to be on my A game. I know you're competing, the other Aussie guys are competing, so it's not going to be easy. But like you said, I think I compete my best when I have fun. So, and I get to do it with you, so it's a plus.
10 days from World Championship. How do you manage that?
Yeah, 10 days from the World Championships. I try to rest up as much as I can and try to bank on the training that I've done in the last few months and hoping that it will come through for me, Try to hydrate as much as I can, stretch as much as I can, and, like I said, just trust in what I've done over the last couple months and compete and have fun, yeah.
What do you enjoy the most about Commonwealth Games and competitions like this?
Well, I think the unique thing about the Commonwealth Games is the atmosphere, you know. It's kind of like the closest thing you get to the Olympics. You get to see all the different athletes. You get to see athletes from different sizes, heights, age, you know, and everybody's really good to be here. So I think that's one of the most unique things about the Commonwealth Games, and like, you know, there are different athletes from all over the world, and you can be a Commonwealth gold medalist and be 6'9", or you can be 5'9", you know. So I think just being around all these great athletes, you know, gets me excited.
So how do you prepare over the next few days, you know, to compete again?
Just do whatever coach puts on the paper.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not my job to worry about that. I just do whatever he puts on the paper, and yeah, trust what he has. So,
ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Lyndon Victor from Grenada.
Well, yours truly has dinner to buy because they are blood brothers, yeah? Kurt, the older one. Leighton and Oba, let me start with you, Oba. These two boys representing Grenada in the way they have done in the past, it just shows that size doesn't matter when it comes to athletic excellence if you're talking about a country and its ability to produce world-class talent. And here is Grenada blessed in this moment, this extended moment, to have two of the ability, the potential of these two. And of course, Lyndon Victor sitting on top of the world.
Exactly. I've long contended that even though we have small populations and we're small in geographic size, the potential within our people is so great. And sometimes you need a predecessor. So you look at what Kurt Felix did in terms of his career, being able to win bronze at the 2014 Commonwealth Games. And of course, he was an NCAA champion. And then you follow that up with what Lyndon has done, where, you know, he's the defending champion, the Commonwealth defending champion, and has won other medals and is ranked among the top 10 in the world. I believe he finished 5th at the last World Championships. And again, it's just a matter of creating a system and then having what I call intergenerational succession. So sometimes what happens is that you see success, a country may have success, but they don't really build upon that with the next generation, so you have to reboot. And I think you see also in the 400 meters with Grenadian James, and we think about who came before him was Alain Francisque, who was a tremendous runner and made many global finals and was ranked in the top 10 in the world. And I incidentally coaches Fred Curley, the American. And so you see when that happens, it allows our people to get more of their potential realized. And it's something that we should be aiming for more and more.
Yeah, and Leighton, the fact of Oba highlighting the Francisque to Grenadian James and that link, but implicit in that statement is the gap between when Francisque was dominating, was doing well, and Grenadian James's exploits.
There was Rondell Bartholomew in between that as well.
But watch this. The point I'm getting at is Felix and Lyndon Victor are together brothers. They're here at the same time. It's not supposed to happen like that for a country the size of Grenada.
And then it just tells you that this little Spice Island is so special. And that was a very emotional feature for me because you know what both of them are capable of. In fact, the funny thing about it is that the national record for the decathlon was held by Felix. It was broken by Lyndon Victor. You know, and so as Oba mentioned, the continuity is what is important here. And I'm sure that there is some young man or some young girl sitting in Grenada right now watching these two gentlemen and thinking, I can do that, because they're within their capability. And look, right now, the 5th best decathlete in the world from Grenada is Lyndon Victor. The world champion in the javelin is from Grenada. The world championship silver medalist is from Grenada. For a country like 200,000 people, are that many living on the island? That's just absolutely remarkable. So this is a great story. The Spice Island bringing spice to the world of sports in so many different ways, in so many different disciplines.
Yeah, but when you talk about the sprints and you talk about the, I don't want to say traditional track and field events, but we know that there are some which have been glamorized relative to others. You don't expect, even at the Commonwealth level, to go into a decathlon contest or a javelin contest or a field event competition and to see that the favorite, the man or woman to fear, is from a Caribbean island. Yeah?
Yeah, typically you would expect the European countries, and that's, I think, a lot to do with the fact that they tend to be stronger in the throwing event. But for the explosive events, you know, you're looking at the 100 meters, the fast twitch events like 400 meters, the long jump, even the hurdles, right? We tend to do well. Interestingly enough, a person I used to train with, called Victor Houston, who was a multiple medalist and champion at the peripheral level, he won the decathlon at the NCAA level, having never done it before he even reached college. But he stockpiled a bunch of points in the events that he was strong in. And so I think as more of our athletes become exposed, better training, better facilities, it provides them the opportunity to realize more of their potential. And so I think from this, even as Leighton was talking about the inspiration, to see it being done, a person can then conceive, you know what, I want to do that. So they might not be particularly fast or particularly good in any event, but together, the combination of being able to do 10 events allows them to come up the ranks and be in a position such as this.
Leighton, it is perhaps time for us to court some controversy now, because the Jamaican team, shorn of some leading lights, the MVP camp has announced that several of their top sprinters won't be making the trip, so they were penciled in, their places were booked, but we're now hearing that they have other engagements, the Commonwealth Games not really in their plans at this time. How do you view that?
It's distressing for me, and here's it. Look, professional sports is about getting paid. The athletes just came out of the World Championships, and now it's time to make some money on the circuit. There's no money to be made at the Commonwealth Games. So therefore, I understand the ambition to go and compete at the different meets and the Diamond League, etc.
And just to interject, Shericka Jackson, who won't be competing at the Commonwealth Games, one of those athletes MVP isn't sending, is at the highest point in her career.
Absolutely. Yeah? So, and then, of course, Stephanie McPherson, finalist in the 400 meters, and Natasha Morrison as well. The problem I have is that if you, as a club, or with the athletes, the agents, sit down and understand, okay, this is what we're going to do, why then allow yourselves to be selected to the team, then withdraw from the team and leave the team short-handed? I think the only way I can maybe rationalize it is that the meet directors reached out late and said, okay, can you make it to Poland where Shericka Jackson is going, or in Italy today?
Yeah.
And then a decision had to be made, because it's about business. But it just sits a little bit uncomfortable for me, the idea that you're going to pull out of a national team, leave the team short-handed, but at the same time, you can't argue about the idea of going on to make money. So I think it could have been handled better. Maybe after the World Championships, they probably should have said, look, okay, these guys are not going to be available because we're looking to get them into meets in Europe. And then allow other athletes who may not have had the opportunity to be selected to then make the team and then go to the Commonwealth Games.
What about your perspective?
I agree, generally, and I am very cautious to speak on Jamaican athletics and some of the politics and things that goes on. From my perspective, I remember back in 1998 when that was my first professional year on the European circuit, and as Leighton said, it is a business. And I had made commitments to participate at the CAC Championships and the Commonwealth Games. And that was the year that I really learned how to run the 100 meters. And I got into some very heated discussions with my father about my national commitment. And eventually I did them, and it worked out well. But I do understand from their point of view where they would want to secure, as they say, the bag. But I do agree that if they really didn't have an intention to participate at the Commonwealth Games, they should have indicated that earlier so that other people could have kept on with their preparations and gotten ready. But I don't think the Jamaican team will be lacking in terms of actual performances on the track. But it is something that should be discussed and considered going forward about whether the top athletes really should be more straightforward and open about it.
Yeah, this is the thing about sport. There's no absolute right answer to anything. There's nothing absolute in life. Fact is that from the athlete's perspective, I mean, the track club MVP in this case, I mean, their mission, their raison d'etre is to look after the athlete's interest first. Where is the athlete going to benefit the most? At the same time, national considerations. We want to see the athletes in the national colors performing for our benefit. And it's this balancing act that people who are charged with making these decisions have to make sometimes, and often, well, not often, sometimes the decision rubs a colony, a constituency the wrong way. But at the end of the day, it's all about give and take. Speaking of give and take, we're taking a break right now. When we come back, we continue to look forward to what track and field has in store for us when it starts properly on Tuesday. Reminding you that the marathon, was competed earlier today, and there were some farcical scenes. The marathon athletes running at their normal pace and people on the sidelines sprinting for their life and not keeping up. Running isn't easy. We take a break. Back with more on the Commonwealth Tonight. Back with us on Commonwealth Tonight. Anil Roberts has taken a breather. He's back in the game. Leighton Levy has checked out for the evening. Obadele Thompson remains with us. And Leighton shared the moment yesterday. It's Oba's turn to share in the discussion about Rugby Sevens and the performance of the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans did get a try. Well, they did score. Let's put it that to give completeness to what they did. They did register a score. Let's see how they did it.
This is a good run for Ashley Smith. As I mentioned, played many years in the English Premiership from Motor.
There he is, almost straight into the action. Couldn't swing it back into his team side, so Jamaica. Hasn't been a lot of room as yet for Leighton Brown. That one just might have crept up a little over the shoulder, but play on, says the referee for Jamaica. Stopani again. Now a bit of room for Dixon. Homer again, just keeping him nice and tight towards that sideline though. Giving away the penalty, England.
12 roll away.
Can look good when they get into full flow. Jamaica just haven't quite had that finishing thrust that they need. Now stepping through is Tyler Bush. Has he got the finishing thrust in the first try of the tournament for Jamaica? Yes, he does. Tyler Bush scores for Jamaica.
And if it weren't going to be anyone really sparking it for Jamaica, it would be Tyler Bush. He's scanning his options. And that change of direction, then the pace and strength to kick through. Wonderful athlete, the grimace, the determination to drive forward. Special times, Jamaica getting their first score here at the Commonwealth Games. And that's what it means, gives it the old badge tap. Shout out to those back home.
And let me tell you something. In the vein of some of the greatest rugby players in history, Jonah Lomu, who I rate as the greatest ever, the former All Black, God rest his soul, Sonny Bill Williams, Dan Carter, George Gregan, the former Australia captain, Tyler Bush felt like all those men combined when he touched down for that try. Anil Roberts, you had some rather interesting things to say about our rugby players on the show yesterday. What do you have to say for yourself now?
George, you have no shame to call those names, those great names of brilliant athletes who have brought joy to millions across the globe. Let me tell you something. I start different. I stop different. I'm proud to be Caribbean. I am a child of the West Indies, 1974 to 1983. The greatest team on the history of the planet, bar none. Better than Chicago Bulls, better than Brazil football, better than Wayne Gretzky ice hockey. I don't want to hear commentators pretending to feign celebration about me scoring a first try in a sevens tournament where it's like a basketball game and it's supposed to go back and forth, high scoring game. I am very sorry. I'm happy you all scored a try. They're representing the entire Caribbean. And when you go to this level, this is elite level sport. And I cannot take commentators and crowd clapping and mamagaing me as a Caribbean person when a black swimmer is coming in dead last 40 seconds after the crowd of Caucasians from the great oppressors are clapping and pretending, oh, let the drowners come in. I am not of that. I am of black brilliance, Caribbean brilliance, beating people. I ain't come here to let nobody laugh at me and become commentating. Remember the 2000 Olympics when Obadele was getting his medal? They had somebody called Eric the Eel who went in the pool from Equatorial Guinea to drown, and the commentators and the media used that to create this truth that they had been saying for decades, that black people can't swim. We too heavy, we muscle too thick, we too dense, we go sink. And they showed that. They tried to make him into a folk hero. That is an embarrassment to me. I am not about that. This is Commonwealth Games. This is elite performance. I congratulate them in the one try. But try to give me a rest and don't call no greatness and make this into no big theme here for me today, George, on this SportsMax brilliant Commonwealth Tonight.
Oba, whatever the man says, I'm still applauding the try by Tyler Bush.
I applaud them, but when you consider that they went 7 halves and in total had 192 points scored against them and only scored 7 points. For a country like Jamaica with a rich history, and as Anna was talking about, our people, representing our people, it's something that I don't know that we should be the most proud of. I truly believe in, if we're going to put out a product, then it should be good. It should represent us, especially before the world. So Anil says a lot of what I think in my heart.
Yes.
It's good that he said it.
Yes.
But really, especially with when we consider the use of resources, and this is nothing to say, and this is not to diminish the fact that people try hard, but when there are other avenues to invest in and other people who may be able to deliver even more, I think we should really look at giving them more and let others have to come up. And I know there's a theory out there about, well, if you don't invest, they won't come up. But this drumming that they took over the past 4 games, people need to sit back and think, is this really what we want to do?
But here's the thing, I'm happy that that you're associating yourself with Anil's comments, so I don't have to dice what I have to say. But here's the thing, gentlemen, what is true? For what Jamaica would have put into rugby, the various variations over time, what we're seeing is about right in terms of what they get when they cash in the check, because the investment in rugby is non-existent. What is happening and what has happened is that the Jamaica Rugby Football Federation, to give them their correct name, what they've done in a few short years to even qualify a team for this, you have to congratulate them and you have to say, gentlemen, well done. But these results prove how much further you have to go. And at least they have something to say. Well, Madam Sports Minister, in this case, Olivia Babsy-Grange, in 4 years of organizing, we've qualified for Rugby Sevens. We have hosted Rugby America's North tournament, which was completed at the UWI Mona campus a week and a half ago, covered by SportsMax. We are raising the profile of rugby. Previously, there was no rugby organized in high schools. Now we have schools in this region. We have 13 schools here. We have 12 schools here. So we can have a truly national rugby competition rather than the piecemeal thing we have in the corporate area where just a few elite schools have a little, some boys who are strays from the other teams, can't make football, can't make track and field. You pull them into a ragtag bunch and say, go play rugby. So when knowing that, like I do, I have to see this in a slightly different way. There's nothing that either of you have said which is untrue about what has happened here. But given the development of rugby in this country, you have to say, Jerry Bainswick and company at the Rugby Football Federation, gentlemen, well done. But this at Commonwealth Games show you how much further you have to go.
Totally disagree. Let me tell you something.
Of course you would.
Rugby Sevens is a different sport. You have to look at what we're talking about. We're talking about Rugby Sevens. Rugby Sevens, in 6 months, if you are intelligent, without resources, you find talent and you understand the game, you can put together a team that can have a high graph of learning and performance. It's not rugby 15s that needs generational understanding.
Stick up in if you
and
must.
therefore,
Stick up in if you
4
must.
years, and that's what you give me?
No, stick
well,
up
then
in.
don't go.
Hold.
Stay home.
Mr. Producer, we have to stay with this. Hold on.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Is there a collective of Jamaican rugby players, whether here in Jamaica or you can find from the diaspora to make up the team, as a lot of those guys are, that is capable of performing better than those in the Commonwealth game? No.
Must be.
No, there isn't.
Well,
That's the point I'm making.
Well,
no.
then don't go.
No, and that's the point. You cannot not go. So it's easy for you to have the terminal, it's easy for you to make a terminal point of don't go. But development has to happen. It has to happen. And this over is where development is
Commonwealth
happening.
Games is not a developmental games.
It isn't, but it is part of Jamaica's development.
No.
Yes, it is.
It is an elite level.
Yes,
so
it
therefore,
is.
if you are in the developmental stage, don't go into no qualification. Don't go there and don't send nobody there to do me that.
No.
Because that is elite level sport. Development is Carifta. Development is Caribbean.
Do they play rugby at Carifta? No, they don't. The point I'm making is...
Caribbean rugby, but then create that.
No, but I'm saying to you, Jamaica, the Rugby America's North ran the life that has been breathed into that tournament in this part of the world by the tournament we covered recently. That's what I'm saying. So
you're going to tell me, George, that me and Obadele, when we finish here on Commonwealth tonight, we go in and get 2 balls, roll it on the lawn, and next year we go in Commonwealth lawn bowls?
No, but we have lawn bowls already there. The point I'm making, Oba, is as we move on to netball now, development has to happen somewhere. And again, what you gentlemen have said is not wrong about the performance, looking at it in bold-face type. What I'm saying is that you have to cut some slack to areas that are underdeveloped relative to other areas.
That pain is too great for me to bear with your development.
Well, there you go. All right. We talk about table tennis now. We're not breaking. We're coming up against the clock table tennis. Guyana against Singapore in the quarterfinals. And we've been rooting for the Guyanese women since yesterday. They were very good on the first day. Chelsea Edgehill and company. Let's look back at how they fared in that quarterfinal. So Singapore beaten 3-0. Of course, you know it's best of 5. The Aussies also took care of the Canadians. And then it was ding-dong between Malaysia and India. 3-2, the Malaysians edging that one. And then the battle of 2 home nations to come, Wales and England. Let's look at the last point in that Singapore-Guyana clash.
He has the serve. And what a way to finish it off. It is job done. The top seeds continue to smoothly sail through this women's team competition. They have not dropped a game. This is why they're the top seeds in this competition, the women's team competition. 11-2 in that third game for Zheng Jian. It's a clean sweep of the first 3 games, the first 3 matches. Singapore continue on into the semi-finals. Confirmation of that scoreline.
Yeah, had a quick word with Chelsea Edgehill today, gentlemen, and she was disappointed with what happened with Guyana.
I think Guyana did tremendously. They're ranked number 71 in the world. Singapore is ranked number 9. They're the top-ranked team at the Commonwealth Games. To get to this point, Guyana finished second within their group. They beat South Africa 3-2. They also beat Fiji, I believe, 3-0. So I believe South Africa was ranked 53 and Fiji was 46. So they punched above their weight. They did what they were supposed to do. But then we see here a clear distinction between what even Chelsea, who was ranked, I believe, around 267th in the world, playing against a player who's ranked number 60 in the world. You see the difference. And one of the things that happens, especially in sports like table tennis, which I watch quite a bit of, is that you don't only need the ability to do it in terms of being able to make the strokes. You also need the endurance, the mental fortitude. And I think that's where you start to see the separation. The higher you go, the better ranked teams that you play, what they have is they have a certain level of fortitude. They have not only the facilities, they also have tradition, they have coaching, they have so many things in place. And I'm half Guyanese, my dad's Guyanese, so I feel tremendously proud of what they did. Again, like I said, I think they punched above their weight, but there is a clear distinction, and hopefully they will build upon this going forward in the next couple of years as we have more competition.
Sir.
Agreed. Guyana, proud of them girls, table tennis, losing to the #1 ranked team, fighting, getting in there, beating teams ranked above you, going to compete. Absolutely amazing. What do we do now? Don't be disappointed, Chelsea Edgel. You did your country proud. You did the Caribbean proud. You did all of us proud. You were amazing. You lost to better players. What do we need to do to develop you now at an elite level? We need to get you to play at a higher level. More competitions with those teams ranked in the top 50 in the world. So you can feel the ball, how it spins, how it moves, how they play, how they concentrate, the speed of the game, the sharpness. So you can't stay down on a level and play around the Caribbean and win. We've got to get her out there to Singapore, to China, go on tours and play until the Olympics 2024. I'm proud of Guyana. Well done.
All right. That's the verdict from the gentlemen. Nothing to be ashamed about because it was a creditable showing. We break, and when we come back, we preview the big events to look forward to on Sunday. Back with us on Commonwealth Tonight. So we've made a final substitution. Not that we need to save the game, because the game is well and truly won. Not when Anil Roberts is scoring goals for fun. He is rather a prolific, Anil Roberts is, but Obadele Thompson has been replaced for the last leg of the relay by Leighton Levy. So the medal table, Nigeria in 9. I'm keen to get to the second page though, Mr. Producer, because there's a country there that I like to see them on the table. There they go. Trinidad and Tobago won gold by Mr. Nicholas Paul. We must not forget that Kwesi Brown was in the final. He finished 6th in the final. That is a tremendous accomplishment in itself. But pride of place, Nicholas Paul taking that pride of place with his gold medal ride in the keyring event to lock up the gold medal and TNT's first at these Commonwealth Games. A lot of you have been messaging me on WhatsApp asking me about the schedule, and I've been saying to people, go on the SportsMax app, download the app, and you'll be able to see everything related to the Commonwealth Games. You have 6 channels to watch Commonwealth action live and uninterrupted on, so utilize it. But I'm being an obliging host this evening, so this is what the schedule looks like for Sunday. Artistic gymnastics start us off, then we go to the swimming heats, boxing and cycling. I'm really keen to see the boxing action. The men will be in action from 6:10 a.m. in Jamaica. Netball, South Africa and Barbados. And the Trinis will also be in action. The ladies from Trinidad and Tobago, they'll be playing Uganda. Cycling finals around about 9:30 in the morning. And then cricket, lovely cricket. Barbados are starting off with a win against Pakistan. They battle the Aussies at about midday in Jamaica. Rugby sevens, the final will be on at midday as well. Anil Roberts. Swimming, action from 1 p.m. Netball, there it is. Uganda and Trinidad and Tobago make the mark, make the note. Weightlifting, the Malaysians have been good so far at these games in weightlifting. They've won 2 gold medals in the discipline already. And of course, the Commonwealth Tonight show is also very good value for your time. Let's talk about the netball now, Leighton, because Uganda and Trinidad and Tobago will lock horns, and then Barbados and South Africa will also tangle. Should those 2 Caribbean nations, should fans of those 2 nations anticipate better fortunes for their girls in those games?
Yeah, but they're going to have to play out of their skins. Uganda is a really, really good team. If you remember, just a couple of years ago, they pushed Jamaica to the limit, and it took just the superior skills of the Jamaicans to get the better of the Ugandans. So that is going to be a game that, if the Trinidadians don't play well, they could get more.
Well, to be fair, Uganda enter as favorites based on what you're saying,
Yeah, but they'll have to play well to hold off the Ugandans, because they're a really good team.
Barbados, South Africa.
And the South Africa against Barbados, I think South Africa are just a little bit better. And I think it would be nice to see Barbados play really well and put up a match. That's because South Africa is one of the best teams in the world. And I think they'll probably likely demonstrate that tomorrow.
Optimism or pessimism, Anil Roberts, in those 2 games for the Caribbean?
Well, let me tell you something, George Davis. If I am coaching Barbados or Trinidad and Tobago in netball, I'm downloading the SportsMax app I'm going back to the comments made by SportsMax analyst Anil Roberts about the initial game and the effort about Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago. I'm going to play it. I'm going to put the girls down and let them see it, let them hear it, let them feel it, let them get vexed, let them say, I want this big mouth bald-head man to shut up. We're going to go out there on the court and we're going to show him that we deserve to be here, that we play in the shadows and on the backs of the greats that came before in the 70s and 80s, that we are coming to show Uganda that they are a young and upstart and we are going to deal with them. South Africa, Barbados, unfortunately, Barbados has a harder task. The fitness of the South Africans, they were outclassed by Jamaica and so on, but Barbados has a harder task. But I would still sit and watch and let us see something that I could sit here like George Davis, the perennial diplomat, and find some positives moving forward for our Caribbean nations. Netball is a game that I equate to cricket. We were the best in the world. So my comparison and my analysis will be based on that. I feel more pain from the netball than from the rugby sevens.
Yeah, the reason I can find positives all the time is like the great Greek philosopher Diogenes. I look for it even in the daylight using a lamp that is lit. Let's talk about swimming on Sunday. And Anil, let me turn to you first. Who should we look forward to among the clutch of Caribbean swimmers who will be in action on Sunday?
Well, out of the clutch, what I'm seeing is that some of the young ones, especially in the women's swimming, it's not as deep. So we can get some 15th, 14th, 15th, and 16th places in the semifinals. But we're looking for some best times. The medals, they're a bit hard to get. Dylan Carter was the main hope in the 50-meter butterfly. That was his best chance. He's still a fighter. He's going to try and get in there. He's already said the 50 backstroke. He's just going to swim and then scratch after that and focus on the 50-meter freestyle. But we've got Bowles who's swimming good from Jamaica. Hopefully in the 200 IM he can get in there. We're looking to continue to improve. But the key thing that our coaches must understand, look at the technique, look at the strokes of your athletes. Do not just think that you're going to have a linear progression. It does not work like that. When you are growing as a young girl, your anaerobic capacity, your physiology, you get stronger, you get faster naturally. When that planes off, the coach's brain takes over. And if you're not bright, if you don't read, if you don't research, if you don't understand, your athletes will plane off, and you call it burnout, but it's not burnout. It's coaches not being bright enough.
Leighton, the Barbadians sprung the surprise in their first game, the first game of the T20 cricket competition, by taking down Pakistan. Will we be greedy if we anticipate a repeat performance against Australia on Sunday?
Not really, because I'm optimistic, as Anil likes to characterize us. The thing is this. I think if Barbados come to the party and play consistently good quality cricket, they have a chance. It's cricket. It takes one ball to get a wicket. And if DeAndre Dottin brings her A game, Haley Matthews, Cassia Knight, Shakira Selman, they have a puncher's chance. And I think that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah.
In this case, your optimism is based on fact. So I can share and join in that because Barbados has shown camaraderie, intelligence, brilliance, good captaincy, good quality, and I think they could beat Australia based on what we are seeing analytically, scientifically, and playing the game. Not hoping for a try and talking sweet like George Davis, going for an ambassadorship for Jamaica in Ireland.
Well, guess what? Michael Moore had a puncher's chance against George Foreman, and he took that chance and, won the heavyweight title. And where the puncher's chance is concerned, Barbados, they have to find Australia's glass jaw. Every team has one, and they have to hit it, and hit it hard. All right, so we've shown you the schedule. We've spoken about the big events that you should look forward to on Sunday. And I think it's the right way to send you away from Commonwealth Tonight this evening, reminding you that the SportsMax app is the portal to all things Commonwealth. Download the SportsMax app today. There are 6 channels dedicated to Commonwealth Games coverage. They run non-stop with the action, and you can flick through the events that you want to see and use multiple devices to satisfy your craving for the best of the action from Birmingham in England. On behalf of the team, we'll be back tomorrow.